ASMR Magical Tools. Hello, Aries. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. So, this month I will be using the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. I will also be using my Lenormand deck, which I designed. It's in a vaporwave theme, and I did finally get these printed. They're available on Etsy. Those are to clarify. And then we are going to start out the reading with a flower magic oracle card. I really love the way these cards are designed. Now, I will be reading from the book. But there's a lot of good information in there. Alright, Aries, so this is going to be for Sun, Moon, and Rising signs for the month of May 2021. Now, of course, if you do feel like watching this video at any other time, it is possible that it will resonate with you at that time. But the intention is to find out what's going on for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs for the month of May in the year of 2021. Alright, so the flower magic card that you get this month, Aries, is the tulip card. Tulip. And I will put that card right back here. So the tulip card is all about being grounded. Keep your feet firmly on the ground. Connect with the earth. Stability abound. Build and lay your foundations firm to steady yourself for the long term. Send your roots down into the soil, bracing yourself against the turmoil. Tulip's message: while it can be an exciting and fun to float away into the clouds for a while without a care in the world, at some point you will need to come back down to Mother Earth. This is the real world, and while it does have its downsides at times, it really is a better place to be. Reconnect with the earth and find yourself some stability. Let's be honest about practical matters. Finances, housework, careers, and the like are pretty boring, snoring, but it's absolutely necessary to get a grip on them. Once your foundations are laid and everything is set in place, you will have a solid base from which to work. I am not suggesting you need to be grounded all the time. There is still room for the occasional unicorn ride, but having a solid foundation and your feet firmly on the ground most of the time is very beneficial. And I won't read the entire thing that's in there about them, but again, the tulip card is all about being grounded this month, Aries. So let's find out what else is in store. And the artist Matt Hughes, who created this deck, is actually doing a revamped version with more cultural diversity. So that's very exciting. I already loved this deck, but now I'm going to like the next one. Also, there's another Oracle deck out right now too called the Dreamscape Oracle deck. So if you enjoy the artwork of the Ethereal Visions deck, there is an Oracle deck out that you might also like. Alright, Aries. We've got the Ten of Wands jumping out. Already, so we have already some energies to look at. The Ten of Wands is about oppression and burdens. Oppression and burdens. Crossing the Ten of Wands, we're going to have the Well. So the Well card, there are two cards in this deck that were created by the artist. And the card about the Well is about delving deep into the self to find the answers to your questions and to find the truth. Find the truth. So it's possible that right now you are being burdened by having to delve into deep issues in your life. You could be going through therapy right now, and it could be putting a toll on you. Just remember to stay grounded. And now I'm going to blow the cards totally off the table. Blow them off the table with my shuffling. Alright. So, past, present situation. And this is the truth of the present situation. This is the future. Goal or destiny. We have your appraisal of the current situation, your perspective. We have an outside perspective on the current situation. We have your hopes and dreams. And then over here we have the final outcome. Final outcome, final outcome. So those of you who have a solar return in the month of April, I would like to reiterate my happy birthday wishes to you from last month. Let's look here into the past. Might tell us a little bit more about the burdens you are facing now. We have the Emperor in the reverse. Now, the Emperor could be somebody who is in control of their life. This could be you, Aries, but in a past state. So it could have been that you used to have your life very under control and you used to have a very orderly existence and rule your domain by divine right. And now things have changed. It could also be that this card represents somebody else who was a tyrant in your life. former boss, or it could be that somebody came into your life in the recent past and they are causing all of these issues to be dredged up. Or this could be somebody you dealt with a long time ago who gave you a lot of baggage to deal with. But I do see in the current situation a lot of baggage that you are dealing with. Let's look at some of the other cards and see if we can tease this apart a little bit more. Tease it apart. Get out my fluorite crystals and we can kind of tease apart all of the meanings from the cards, just like you would with forceps. I'm just being silly with my crystals. Alright, so the current situation, as I mentioned before, this is your perspective on the current situation. And we have the Strength card here, which is a very good card for you to have right here. And this does have to do with making it through this situation that you're currently going through and using your strength to get you through it. And as you can see, this is Leo's card, so you could have other fire placements in your chart. Look and see if you have any Leo placements too. That could be helping you at this time. You can see the little Leo signs in the corners of the card. So let's look at the outside perspective, looking in at your situation. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. Now, the Queen of Wands could definitely be you, Aries. Queen of Wands is fire energy, water of fire. So this is somebody who is in their better moments, very outgoing, very easy to talk to, easy to communicate with, confident, and charismatic. But when this card comes out in the reverse, there could be some catty behavior or gossiping going on. But that is the perception from the outside. And as you can see, heavy Leo energy here. Heavy Leo energy. So it could be that if the Strength card is not strictly your energy, it could be that you have an ally who is a Leo. But to me, what this looks like is that from the outside, people might be misconstruing you talking about your circumstances as like complaining or fanning the flames of drama. They might think that you are just being over dramatic about your situation. But let's find out more about the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter. We have the Chariot in the reverse. So I do think that you've gone through some kind of setback here. I don't think that the Chariot here in the reverse means that you will not have your victory. I just think that it means that right now you're undergoing some setbacks and the Chariot wheels might be rolling or drifting backward at this time. Let's look at the future. So here in the future, we have the High Priestess. This is an excellent card, and she is appearing here in the upright. The High Priestess is moon energy. So has to do with the cyclical nature of the moon. And if you think about the moon card, there's a lot of mystery and a lot of secrets there. The High Priestess holds a lot of power in her secrecy. So if you find yourself confiding in people who are not necessarily supportive of you, remember, this is how other parties might be seeing you right now. That you might start keeping those thoughts to yourself and gain your strength from that and gain your power from that. The Hopes and Fears card I like to use to cross the future card because that is the environment in which the future will be taking place, is your hopes and fears. We have the Six of Cups, and I do kind of read this as a reversal. The Six of Cups is usually about a nostalgia and things returning from the past. And when you have it here in the reverse, it's all about letting go of the past and moving on and turning your back on it so that you can move forward. So that might be what needs to happen. That might be the event that needs to go, that needs to come to pass in order for you to move forward with the High Priestess energy. Let's look at your goal or destiny card here. And we have the World. The World in the reverse. Now, the World card is always a good card to get. But when the World card comes out in the reverse, there are still some hang-ups. The figure on the World card is kind of an inversion of the energy of the Hanged Man. So that the Hanged Man is all about being in stasis and making sacrifices. Whereas the World card is about having already gone through the entirety of the Fool's journey of the major arcana and coming to your place of divinity and wisdom and sovereignty. So when the card shows up in the reverse like this, it's not bad, but it does mean that everything is going to be almost perfect. Almost perfect, but not quite. Alright, so here is the final outcome card. And this is an excellent card to get in this position. We have the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups is upright. The Page of Cups is an offering. So you see that in the cup is a fish. In the cup is a fish. And the fish can be money. Fish are often symbolic of money, so it could be a job, but it could also be about an offer of love, because it's here in the cup, and the cups are about emotional states. So the Page of Cups represents an offering of love or money or a job, and can also represent a younger person in your life who is a water sign or who has a water sign energy. All right. Let's do the overlay spread with the Lenormand cards. I am really happy with how these turned out. And there is a link to that, to my Etsy store, in the description of the video. The squared off corners really remind me of like playing Candyland. Candyland. I used to love that game. I was obsessed with getting the special cards, especially Queen Frostine, who was almost at the very end. Alright, so the first house is ruled by Aries and by the planet Mars, and has to do with the self and also with beginnings. So that's going to be back here by the Emperor, and that is going to tell us a lot about that situation, because remember, I wasn't very sure, and a lot of these other cards didn't really make that situation a lot clearer. So we have the fish. So to me, it looks like what happened was that you used to be much more in this energy of the Emperor, because like I mentioned with the Page of Cups card here, the fish is representative of money. So I think that was you in your power in the beginning of this situation, or in the past. The second house is your finances and has to do with your stability. So if you're an Aries rising, for example, Taurus will be in your second house, and Taurus does rule the second house. And Venus is also particular to the second house, native to the second house. So your second house, which is right here by the Strength card, we have the Lily. Now, the Lily can be about, it's kind of one of two things. So the Lily can be about an elderly relative in your life, or the Lily can be about innocence and purity. In this particular case, it looks to me like financially you may have been helping out an elderly relative, because remember, this is your finances and your stability, and that might also be tied into you are feeling strong. You feel like you are strong enough to support this person. Across from your second house in opposition is going to be the 8th house, and we haven't gotten over there yet, but that's where we look at other people's resources, their money, their bodies. So physical intimacy is a resource held by other people also. That's a rather mercenary way of looking at it, but people view it that way. Death, sex, and other people's money. Your life is a resource. Other people's lives are their resources too. But because the Lily is coming out here, that's why I think that rather than some other person supporting you, that you have been supporting and providing stability, possibly, if not financial support, to an older relative. So the third house is about your immediate surroundings. And we're getting down here into the realm of the imum, which is going to tell us a little bit about how we're going to get to the midheaven, where we have the world card. Remember, up here in the goal or destiny position, the imum is the jumping off point for that, and we have the chariot there in reverse. So this is going to be your immediate surroundings, communication, like your neighborhood, your siblings, anything that is part of your immediate sphere, and can also then involve like short distance travel. So we have the scythe. You could be cutting ties with some people. You could be telling some close friends that you can't be friends with them anymore. Or you could be just generally cutting ties with people that you were once very close to. That could include siblings. It could also be cutting communication with somebody. And I feel like it's going to be about this setback. So, it could even have to do with this older relative situation that maybe you really can't support them. And you really can't continue to give them money. The fourth house has to do with your home and family life. Home and family, home and family. And as I was saying, it is down here by the Sealy. So, that will tell us a little bit more about how we will get to that position of the world card later on. We have the ring. So, the ring can be about marriage. It can also be about contracts. Business contracts. So there could be there could have been a setback where you had to get a divorce and find a new place to live. That's a possibility. Or that you had to find your way out of a legal contract with somebody. And because of that, your housing situation, because remember, the fourth house is home and family. That could have been disrupted because of this legal contract not panning out. Let's look at the fifth house now. The fifth house has to do with children, so that is you as someone else's child. That could be your children, or it could just be children whom you are responsible for in some way, or that you bond with. Can also have to do with creativity. So, especially if you are involved in any creative projects, whether that is a hobby or a job. And then also has to do with your romantic life. So remember, your fifth and sixth houses are going to land over here near other people's opinions of you, which were represented by this Queen of Wands in the reverse. And if you are an Aries rising, Leo would be your fifth house. It is the house that Leo rules, and it is where the sun is native. So, in your fifth house, we have other. This could be a romantic partner for you coming into the picture. And this could be related to this Page of Cups over here. So the fifth house is in opposition to the 11th house. And the 11th house is going to end up right over here by the Page of Cups. So we'll have to see what comes out in your 11th house, which is all about group dynamics. It has to do with innovative new ideas also, and iconoclasts. And the 6th house is your daily routines and your health. Daily routines and your health. So we have there the bear. That could mean that you are feeling strong as a bear. The bear is a very powerful person, very powerful. And remember, not too long ago, you were very much in your element as the emperor. So I think that as far as your daily routines are concerned, and as far as your health is concerned, you are probably feeling quite powerful. Quite. The 7th house. So now we are getting into the oppositions. The 7th house is in opposition to the 1st house. If you are Aries rising, this is ruled by Libra. So you having Libra in your 7th house would be having the ruling sign in that house. And the planet associated with that house is Venus. So, whereas the 1st house is about the self, the 7th house is about your relationships with other people. So that can be a romantic partner, a business partner, or even an open enemy. Open enemies, open enemies. Can also have to do with legal cases. We have the crossroads there. And that could definitely have to do with this ring in the 4th house. So, a crossroads is going to be a choice between two things. A choice between what you currently have and what you could have in the future. It could be a choice between two different people. It could also be a choice between two different jobs. Or, do I handle this legal matter this way or this other way? Either way, it is a choice that you will be able to make. We are also getting over here into the future with that. So remember that the High Priestess is the second card in the major arcana, and that she has those two columns of light and dark behind her. That might be something that you are choosing about right now. It might also be about this. Remember, we had the 6 of Cups coming out there too, as your hopes and fears. Maybe fearing that the past might catch up with you, but also hoping for a better future. So the 8th house now is other people's resources. And remember, we had the lily over here in the 2nd house. And I was saying that that might be about you supporting an older person and creating stability for them. Well, we might find out more about that situation in more detail here in the 8th house. In the 8th house. So we have the whip. The whip is all about things that are overly harsh. It can also be about discipline. So it could even be about S&M, if that's something that you're into. The 8th house creates a square with the 5th house. A square. So the 5th house is square to this elderly family member over here. And then it's also square to the whip in the 11th house, which has to do with other people's resources. It could be that the resources have been overly harsh, while this could be a potential romantic partner coming in for you. This could also represent this person if they are a parent, because remember, the 5th house also has to do with children and has to do with you as a person's child. So you might have seen how this person was dealt with very harshly and feel like you are responsible for taking care of them. The 9th house has to do with things that you do to elevate yourself, and it's also in opposition to the 3rd house down here in the as part of the Imam Silai. So now we're getting into the territory of the midheaven, and we'll be looking more at the circumstances surrounding this world card in reverse. And we have the clover. The clover is luck, and it's a fast kind of luck. So some of this cutting things out might actually be clearing the way for you. A large scythe such as this is really good at clearing wheat, but it's not very good for clearing clover. You would want a weed whacker for that, right? So what that means is that because a lot of this other stuff has been cleared out, these small little shoots of luck are able to poke out from the soil. Now, this is not like a long-term good fortune, but it is more like a, I won $500 on a scratch-off ticket, or I found a $20 bill on the sidewalk. It could even be a fast kind of luck that leads to bigger breaks. But it's that lucky break of, my friend ran into Matthew McConaughey in a coffee shop, and we ended up going to a party at his house. That didn't actually happen to me. I was just making an example. So the 10th house is going to be about your career. It is ruled by Saturn and by Capricorn energies and is in direct opposition to your 4th house. And so we had that ring in the 4th house, and we'll find out more about that situation possibly here as well. We have the self coming out. Oh, that is really cool for your 10th house placement. It means that your career, moving forward, you're going to be true to yourself. You might even be working for yourself. You might even be starting your own business. You might have gotten out of this business contract or this job or this marriage, and it led you to start your own business. So that's pretty cool, Aries. Great job, Aries, so far. Doing a great job. So, the 11th house is, as I mentioned before, in opposition to the 5th house. Has to do with iconoclasts, has to do with novel ideas, and also has to do with group dynamics. I'm is allergy season again. I did Papa Zyrtec maybe like an hour and a half ago. So the 11th house, we have the ship, which has to do with travel. So you could be making plans to travel. You could be looking at like a cruise ship or a group trip situation. There might be like some kind of retreat. I know that some of the opportunities that have appealed to me in the past are like group pilgrimages to Egypt to see the beautiful structures there. And there are other trips that are like that where you go to these places with a group and they tell you all about the history of the place, and they also have like activities of meditation and group stuff that you all do together. So there might be some opportunity like that comes up, because this is right here next to this page of cups, so that might be coming up for you. It sounds like a lot of fun, Aries. I think you should go. I wanted to go to one, but it was only for women, so my spouse wouldn't have been able to come. It was also really expensive, but it's gonna cost a lot to go on a really good trip, you know? You don't want to not pay a lot for a trip and then end up having a really terrible time because everything sucks because you didn't spend enough money. Alright, so the 12th house is the last house. It is about endings, and it is about your psychic intuition. So we have the sun. Wow, Aries, what a great ending to your reading. The sun closing it all out. And look how we have the ship sailing off into the sunset, just like in Miami Vice. Thank you, Aries. Thank you. I'm so glad that you joined me today for your May 2021 tarot forecast. If you enjoyed the reading, please let me know down in the comments. I will also leave a link in the description to the form that you can use to submit questions for my future Q&A videos. I know that sometimes people like to submit to those anonymously. So you have the option to do that. You can also give me a name if you want. And of course, the link to my Etsy will be in the description as well. So you can check out these cards in more detail if you like. I hope that you have a great evening, a great week, and a great month. And I look forward to seeing you again